Hey, Chief Meteorologist Michael Bowling here in the Channel 3 Weather Center. We actually are going to get a tornado warning, or we just have had one issued in portions of Tillman County. Noah, can you go ahead and switch over to the regular software version of this, the regular radar scene in there, and then we can zoom into this warning and try to get a better feel for it. Thank you very much. Yeah, you can go ahead and zoom in there. So we got it right now for northern Tillman County. We actually had a spotter confirm a tornado not that long ago. So let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit further. It's on the edge of Tipton, so let's zoom all the way in here. Okay, thank you very much. All right, so just to the north of Manitou, it does actually get, it does include Highway 183 here. So it's going to be where it's going to be approaching. You can actually see some of the rotation right in there. There's our area of rotation. That's just to the northeast of Tipton. So right now we do have a spotter confirming a tornado has been reported on the ground from this thunderstorm. So right now that's where we're going to be watching, as it's now moving its way northeast away from Tipton. It's going to get pretty close to Manitou here, but right now you are not included in the warning, but it's going to go across 183 south of Snyder. So along Highway 183, that's where we do not want to have anybody traveling here between Snyder and Manitou, because that's where this storm is going to be approaching. Now go ahead and switch me over to the iPad scene in there, Noah. And we're going to go ahead and look at the velocities here on the iPad. So just go ahead and click on the Apple. It says, I think it says like Apple TV or something like that. I might. Let me go ahead and show you.
My bad. I'm sorry about that.
You're fine. You're fine. It's this one. Here.
Oh, gotcha.
Click on that one.
There we go.
What'd you say, Carolyn? I'm sorry. Both mics are open. Okay, thank you. Okay, Noah, your mic's open now, so just so you know.
Okay.
Okay, so right now as we look at the velocities don't look as good as they did a second ago. I'll play it forward for y'all so y'all can see it. It's going to take a second. Oh, actually, it's already loaded. So right here is right around the time that the warning got issued. You can see the red and the green here are very close to each other. They're also fairly bright. And you can see right there, they're actually completely touching together. That's probably when our tornado was on the ground, and that's when the rotation looked to be its strongest. That was at 9:30, so that was 5 minutes ago. That's when the rotation was strongest. Now the rotation's looking a little bit weaker, so that's some good news. But the other concern with this storm that we've had with it over the last hour here is some of the really strong wind speeds too. Now we've lost some of those really strong wind speeds too that we had earlier. You can see them back here towards the western portion of the storm. You can see them just northwest of Tipton here. There was actually a chance on the radar. It was showing wind speeds up to 110 miles per hour for just straight line winds with this storm. Now the warning is for 80-mile-per-hour winds, which is still a destructive thunderstorm, so we need to keep that in mind too. It's not just the tornado warning that we're watching here. We're also watching the potential for extremely strong straight line winds with this thunderstorm too. So we're playing it forward here. Okay, I'm just making sure. I do not believe we're going to have Kyle out and about today.
I'm still picking up winds of about 85 miles per hour currently in that little area that you were just talking about, Michael.
Okay, thank you very much, Noah. So he's still seeing some 85 to 90 mile an hour winds there. So we're watching the chance, not just once again, the tornado warning obviously is why we're breaking into the coverage here, but we also have the really strong straight line wind damage possibilities too with this thunderstorm. Now we're going to walk around here a little bit too. That's what we always do. We got to look down to the south here. We also have severe thunderstorm warnings now that are in effect for portions of, I believe this is all the severe thunderstorm warning. Yeah, this is a new one that just got issued. It does include portions of Ford County now. Crowley, you're now included in the newest severe thunderstorm warning. Hardeman County, well, really the eastern portions of Hardeman County at this point, and then northwestern portions of Wilbarger County still in a severe thunderstorm warning. Now the concerns for this storm farther to the south, Vernon, you actually are included in the newest severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued. The concerns here are still the chance for some 70 to maybe 75-mile-per-hour wind gusts further down to the south too. We'll go ahead and look at the velocities there and see what we can see. Right now you don't see as many of the bright colors, but we're also watching some of these areas like this. I mean, just like that one started to rotate a little bit. I'll play this forward. I can probably pick out a couple of these spots. One area that went pretty close to Vernon right here was showing some signs of rotation. Also watching this area back here now. That's showing some areas of some broad rotation right there too, just a little bit south east of Quanah and north of Kroll there. So we're going to have to watch several different areas for broad rotation here as we go throughout the rest of the evening, because really as we get into the night, that's when the lower level jet starts to kick in. It sweeps up down from the south, and that a lot of times can help getting these things rotating a little bit more as we go throughout the night. So we got our reflectivity back now. This is our regular product that you're used to seeing. And the earlier this afternoon, there was also the potential for some very large hail. There was actually a warning for baseball-sized hail at one point for Jackson County. As we go throughout the rest of tonight, there is a concern for hail still, but hail is by no means the largest threat anymore. Right now, we're going to watch for some of these areas of rotation that have been developing, and then those really strong straight line winds. Hail throughout the rest of tonight, probably a ping pong ball sized hailstones or smaller. We're mainly watching for those 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts and the rotation. So have you seen anything in the chat, Noah?
I am currently not seeing anything in the chat. There was an update. We've got some pea-sized hail reported in Woodward.
Okay.
We also got the tornado warning in effect until 10:15 for those portions of Tillman County.
Okay. So yeah, it's good to know. I did not realize this was until 10:15. So that's that is a long warning for a day like today, when really these rotational areas should not last that long. So there's a chance that if this rotational area dies, this warning would not quite last until 10:15. But we're gonna have to watch to see how long it really holds rotation.
Manitou sirens are sounding right now. A lot of portions of the area are losing power currently. We have an update, extends area flood watch for Cotton, Garvin, Jackson, Stevens, and Tillman counties until 1 a.m.
Okay.
Also flood watches for Alfala, Blaine, Caddo.
Yeah, you're getting up towards the Oklahoma City metro now.
Okay, yeah. Yep. But yeah, no, Jackson and Tillman counties right now, you have an area flood watch until about 1 a.m.
Yep, so that's the other thing. I mean, I'll zoom out, bring up the flooding thread here as we go throughout the rest of tonight. You can see just all the thunderstorm activity that's going through. It's moving very slowly. So flooding is still a concern too, along with these storms, along with that chance. And you can see all the storms that are building back out to the west here. That's all just slowly making its way in. The main concern for severe weather, though, is these initial storms that we're getting right here on the leading edge of these initial storms. That's going to be our greatest concern for severe weather here as we go throughout the rest of tonight. Now let's go back to our tornado warning. Now on the reflectivity, I can still clearly see where that rotation was developing there. It's still clearly there on the reflectivity. Let's go ahead and look at velocity again. Right now, remember a second ago how we were talking about how the greens and the reds were bright and touching each other? That was what we call gate-to-gate shear. That was a good sign for strong rotation, something potentially on the ground. Right now we're not seeing that. That's some good news. We're seeing a little bit of a weakening trend in that rotational area. It's much more broad. You see this gray that's kind of getting between the greens and the reds? That's broadening the rotation. So right now it's not as tight, it's not as really defined as it was earlier. So that's some good news.
We got an update for you, Michael, here. Mm-hmm. We are watching in another area of rotation west of Frederick.
Okay, west of Frederick. So, oh, yeah, it's right here.
Yep, I see it.
So here's Frederick, and here's our other area rotation. It's another one of these little quick spin up things, and this is where the strongest winds are. A lot of times we'll see these little quick spin ups occur near the strongest winds of the thunderstorm, and this is where the potential for those 80+ mile-an-hour winds that we had earlier and likely still could have in this portion of the thunderstorm. And we're also seeing some of these quick little spin ups possible too, and probably going to see that quite a bit here over the next hour. So right now that's a little bit west of Frederick with that rotational area.
Looking at those winds just north of Tipton, Michael, I do have some good news. I am not seeing any more 80-mile-per-hour winds. I'm seeing mostly around 75 to around 77 miles per hour right now.
Okay, that's good. So we're seeing a little bit of weakening trend there, and the wind speeds too, as far as the straight line wind speeds. That's really what we were expecting here as we go throughout the rest of the night. We've lost the daytime heating from the sun. Generally, that leads to a weakening trend with the storms. We've seen that weakening trend absolutely as far as the hail threat as we go throughout the rest of tonight. But these storms have really organized themselves and have developed that chance for some of these really strong winds, and we'll have to watch for those chances for these quick little spin-ups as we go throughout the rest of tonight too. Let's look back at that rotational area. So you see a little bit here, that green and the red coming together a little bit closer again. That's some more tightening of the rotation. So we still have definitely a concern here as far as rotational area is northeast of Tipton. See another little area right there. It's another little area of rotation. We're going to see several of these little areas of rotation constantly. And there's the other area of rotation that they're watching right there, just a little west of Frederick. We're just going to see a ton of these popping up here as we go throughout the rest of, until this storm starts to really die down. Okay, so right in there, it's still clearly on the reflectivity product too. That's still, it's a clear indicator of rotation on the reflectivity. You can kind of see the inflow notch right there. And this is our rotational area. So that's going to be still likely. Right now, it doesn't look like anything would be necessarily on the ground right here in this instant. But there was something on the ground earlier, which is what prompted the tornado warning in the first place. So we still have definitely some rotation there, still definitely tightening rotation. That's another area that we're going to have to watch now too. We're starting to see some rotation there as well. It's a little bit less organized than the one that we are tornado warning. This area down further to the south doesn't look quite as organized as did the one that was west of Frederick. That's good news there. That doesn't look quite as organized either anymore. So we'll watch. We'll be watching for all these potential areas of rotation. Let's go and zoom out. We've talked about that warning for a minute.
Severe thunderstorm warning will continue. 70-mile-per-hour winds, 1-inch diameter hail for Jackson, Tillman, and Wilbarger counties until about 10 p.m. tonight.
Okay, so they've knocked down the 80 to 70 on that one then. So that's some good news there. That's a weakening trend. Is that correct there, Noah?
What was that again, Michael?
They knocked down the 80-mile-per-hour straight line winds.
Yes, it's possible considerable wind of about 70 miles per hour.
Yeah.
We do also have a train spotter has reported a flash flood at 9:15 in Jackson County. Some roads are covered with water, and there are some stalled vehicles on the road. So definitely some flash flooding dangers out there in Jackson County right now.
Okay. Kyle, I know you're watching. So, yeah, Kyle, I understand that. I don't think you need to go out there. It's nighttime, and these are quick spin-ups. We got
several circulations are ongoing with the cell near Frederick. We put the tornado possible as brief. Transient tornadoes could quickly develop with little lead time.
Right, yeah, that's what we're going to see a lot of here. We're not going to see a whole lot of lead time on these storms. So our storm chaser Kyle Guthrie was just texting me, and he brought up another good point. There's a lot of flooded roadways out there. He's not going to go out and chase tonight just because it's dark. There's a lot of flooded roadways, and these are going to be quick spin-ups. So it's just not a whole lot of use for Kyle to be out there and putting himself in harm's way when we have flooded roadways and nighttime quick spin-up type situation like this. So as we continue to look, let's go back to the velocity, because that's exactly right. We're not going to have a whole lot of lead time on these. They're going to develop very quickly. What were you saying, Noah? Winds
are still diminishing in that area above Tipton that we were looking at with those 100-mile-per-hour winds. Those do continue to keep weakening. The highest I'm seeing right now is around 60, 67, 66.
Yeah, I'm sampling it too. Yeah, it looks like it's all around 65. Yeah.
I do see some 70-mile-per-hour winds in an area just south of you, Michael, in that kind of back section.
Okay. Yeah, just west of Frederick there?
Yes, just west of Frederick. Yeah. I am seeing a couple 74s, 76.
Yeah, so strong straight line winds still going to be a concern as you get towards Frederick. Right now, the rotational areas are really staying north of Frederick at this point.
According to this chat right now, Michael, the circulation they are most concerned about is the one just northwest of Manitou.
Okay, yeah, that's the one that we have the tornado warning on. So we continue to have that warning. Going to stay in effect here until 10:15. This is actually kind of it's picked up some speed though. Oh, it's almost drifting a little south here towards the end of the loop. It's actually really not moving anywhere particularly fast in the last 10 minutes. Yeah, this is a slow-moving storm. That's the other concern. That's why there's so many flooded roadways. We're just talking about with Kyle. Going to have a hard time going out tonight, which he's not going to do tonight because of the issues that we've already laid out. But these are just extremely slow-moving and heavy rain producers. So that's another concern. Just
as a quick thing, another area we are watching is just southwest of Burt, west of Frederick. It does say they do say this one is more aloft as of right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. So they're watching another area rotation. You said.
Yeah, another area rotation.
Yeah,
again, it does say it's more aloft right now. So.
Yeah. So what he's saying is the loft means it's higher up in the atmosphere. It's not down towards close to the surface. So we got to watch for those rotations when they get closer to the surface to see if they can put a tornado on the ground. Right now, what he's saying is just west of Frederick, we see one of those rotational areas higher up in the atmosphere, but we're watching to see if it can get it a little bit lower and then be a concern for a tornado. Right now, we're not seeing it in the lower portions of the atmosphere. The only place we're seeing that is this one warning that we have that's northeast of Tipton. That's the only area where we see that lower rotation capable of producing a tornado.
Spotters in Davidson are not seeing anything at this time.
Okay. Davidson is pretty far south, though, so that would make sense that they wouldn't see anything.
They do have spotters still in Manitou.
Okay.
Still looking, see if anything does form with
Yeah.
that tornado warning that we have.
Yeah,
in that
and you
area
can still
rotation.
see it on the reflectivity. I mean, there's still rotation there. I mean, it's...
Yeah, there's definitely
it's
some
clearly,
rotation going on there.
Yeah, there's clear rotation. Spotters are going to have a hard time seeing these things because they rely, when it gets down to nighttime here, the spotters are relying on lightning to light this thing up and be able to see if they can see something on the ground. And in situations like this where we're not expecting, long-lived, large tornadoes, they're kind of just seeing if they can see that quick spin up, get lit up by some of the lightning. So they're going to see what they can see, and we'll find out if there's still something on the ground. There was something on the ground at one point because we got a spotter report in there. In fact, I think this was, no, it says radar indicated on the tornado warning that was issued. But let's walk around here for a second. Let's look around the market. In fact, let's go back over to the radar software. You walk me around for a second, Noah.
Okay.
So let's just look around on the radar here. Okay, so we still have our severe thunderstorm warnings here across portions of Hardeman County here, northern Ford County. Main concerns here are going to be those 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts, and then the chance for some hail that's slightly smaller than a ping pong ball. That's going to be our main concerns there. As we get further to the north, that's where we have our tornado warning. Clearly, the rotational area right here, it's going to go right across Highway 183 south of Snyder, north of Manitou here. That's going to be the main area of concern for the rotation. That's approaching the highway probably here in about 10 to 15 minutes. I mean, it's a slow moving storm as it drifts off to the east, but we do not want to recommend travel on 183 between Manitou and Snyder here, as that's where the rotational area is moving. Now, in Manitou and near Snyder, you still probably want to consider getting into that safe spot, or your safe spot is going to be the smallest interior part of your house, generally speaking, away from exterior walls. The goal is to put as many walls between you and the outside of your home as possible. For most people, it's going to end up being a small bathroom or a small closet at the interior home. You want to be at the most centered part of your house. Now, if you have a storm shelter or a basement, most of us don't have basements around here, but if you have a storm shelter, that's obviously the best spot to be. But if you don't, that interior part of your house, you'll be just fine. Just get to that spot. That's where you want to be right now.
As far as these straight line winds that we were looking at earlier, Michael, I'm seeing a couple more 75 mile per hour winds really to the far north, right at the edge of the tornado warning where that corner is.
Okay.
But mostly I'm seeing around 50 to 60 mile per hour winds at the current moment.
Okay, so we're still seeing somewhat of a weakening trend there with some of the straight line winds versus earlier when we were seeing those chances for 80 plus mile per hour winds. So that's some good news there. We should see a weakening trend just generally speaking with these storms. But I think while we're watching that weakening trend, we're going to have to still watch for these quick little spin ups. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and let's go back over to the Max software. I'm going to, or to not Max software, the Apple TV again.
We do have the tornado warning is still going to stay in effect until about 10:15.
Yeah.
As of right now.
Can you switch me over to the Apple TV here?
Yep.
We're taking a quick glance at the velocity here. You can see this velocity. I mean, you can comment on this too, Noah. I mean, that looks much more broad than it did a second ago.
Yeah, it was definitely a few minutes ago. It was definitely way more kind of concentrated, and it looked like it could have formed something. But now it definitely is. It looks like it's losing its form, basically.
Yeah. and we'll play it back here. You can see here towards the beginning of the loop how it was really organized. The greens and reds are right up next to each other, that really tight rotation. And now it's signifying some really strong low-level rotation there that likely could drop a tornado. At this point now, it's really broadened out. We got a lot more of those grades between the greens and the reds, and it's really weakened quite a bit here. So right now we still have this tornado warning until 10:15. So we're going to stay with this, but right now we are seeing some good news as far as the velocity signature is concerned. We're seeing another weakening trend as far as the tornado concerns here. So definitely some good news there. Let's look a little further down to the south now.
Yep, tornado threat looks to have come down significantly in the recent scan. So that's some good news.
Yeah, did you say that, or was that in chat?
That was in chat.
Okay, did Vex say that?
Vivek said that, yes.
Yeah, okay. So did they say anything about canceling the warning, or are we going to keep it going?
Nothing yet on canceling the warning. That was right after the update that they're going to keep the warning until 10:15. So I guess maybe he was just kind of lumping that, saying, we're going to keep the warning, but it looks to have come down. The threat has seemed to come down.
Yeah, what we might end up doing here is, so everyone knows, we can alert the news people. When we get to news time, we might go ahead and start the newscast if this is still weakened, even though we might still have a tornado warning that's active here. If it still looks like a weakening situation, we might go ahead and just start the newscast, and then obviously I'll jump back in if it starts to tighten back up. But right now, with it looking like it's going to be a weakening trend here, we'll probably stay with the warning unless they cancel it earlier.
Yeah, I mean, this whole storm in of itself looks to be weakening just in general. I mean, I'm seeing just weaker winds across the board. Again, I'm not seeing anything above 70 miles per hour at the current moment. Highest I'm seeing is around 65. So, and that's definitely much weaker than what we saw maybe about 10, 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, we'll have to watch some more of these areas, though. We got an area now north of Kroll that's showing a little bit signs of rotation there too. So that's another going to be. I mean, it's going to be a long hour or two here just watching some of these quick little areas of rotation, and again, just have to monitor them. Again,
like they said, there's not a lot of lead time with these. If they're going to form, they're going to form quickly.
Yeah, these are going to be quick. This is going to be textbook night for quick spin ups, but even quick spin ups can do a lot of damage very quickly. So we're going to have to watch these very closely.
The strongest damaging wind gusts will be approaching Frederick here.
Yeah.
In a few minutes.
Yeah, strong winds moving into Frederick right now. Some 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts possible here, moving right now into Frederick.
We have a new severe thunderstorm warning. They have knocked it down to 60 mile per hour winds and 1 inch hail for Harmon, Jackson, and Hardman counties till about 10:45.
Okay, so that's a new warning for the western for the activity that's moving in from the west. Okay, so that's for this activity that's coming in from the west. That's going to be a new severe thunderstorm warning that we're about to get. Go ahead and take me back over to the Mac software, because that will have that loaded already. And we'll talk about that for a second. So here's that new severe thunderstorm warning. It does include Quanah at this point. You said 60 mile per hour wind gusts, correct?
Correct.
And we got some quarter-sized hail too with it.
Inch-sized hail.
Which is 1 inch?
1 inch size hail,
yeah,
yes.
that's going to be quarter-sized hail. So we got Quanah here that's going to be included in the warning. Also, pretty much all the western portions of Jackson County for this warning. I mean, the main concerns really here as we go throughout tonight is that chance for some of these stronger wind gusts, and then also we'll have to watch for any brief areas of rotation. Let's go ahead and zoom this back out again. This green box here, once again, is a flash flood warning that we have in effect for portions of Jackson County. So we go back into our tornado warning here. The rotational area that was there, I mean, I don't even see much on the reflectivity anymore. I think it's choked itself off. I think it's really weakened quite a bit here.
I'm seeing the same sort of trend right now on the velocity right now, a very weakened area of rotation, not barely anything.
Yeah, I think we're going to be in good shape here as far as the tornado warning goes. Let's zoom out and look at the larger severe thunderstorm warning again. I think we're going to go ahead and let the newscast start on time here, because I just think that the warning might still be in effect, but at this point I think we're at a situation where it's probably not going to drop anything. I'm going to go ahead and look at the velocity scan here.
We have some pea-sized hail recorded 4 miles west of Frederick. So we do have some hail hitting the ground at the current moment.
Okay.
But nothing too big at the moment. Again, only pea-sized hail right now west of Frederick.
All right. All right, so right now the main concerns here with these severe thunderstorm warnings is at this point, we still have that tornado warning in effect, but the rotation, I'm looking at it right now on the iPad, the rotational area looks significantly weaker. I think we're about done with it. The warning's still in effect till 10:15. I think we're looking in pretty good shape at this point as far as that warning's concerned. We still have several more severe thunderstorm warnings, though, across the northwestern portions of the area. Did they say anything about the watch? Because we had the watch until 10 o'clock.
70. Okay, I guess I'm not seeing anything on the watch.
Okay.
I'm just seeing a bunch of stuff on the warnings.
Okay. Because I feel like they need to extend the watch for us until probably another hour at least, and probably maybe even extend it a little bit further east if this can carry.
They have increased the warning. They have increased the warning. Again, 60-mile-per-hour winds, 1-inch size hail in Harper Woods and Woodward counties. That's a little farther north.
Yeah.
We do now have a severe thunderstorm warning.
Yep, that box just popped up in here.
Yeah, for Comanche, Jackson, and Tillman and Wilbarger.
Okay. So yeah, that's this northern box. That's this new box. That's 60 or 70 mile per hour wind gusts in that box.
60.
60. Okay, so they knocked that one down too. All right, so that's all good news. So we're watching 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and some possible quarter-sized hail. We still have that tornado warning in effect until 10:15. We're going to keep a close eye on it here, but right now I think overall we are seeing a weakening trend in it. So we're going to go ahead and let the newscast start here with Lauren Linville starting right now.